They'll spend it, just don't tax it. That's long been the bargain with Britain's non-doms, some of the richest people in the country. But the government has changed its mind. It now wants a slice of their overseas income, as well as their estate when they die. So this is Mayfair, the heart of prime London. This place has got a lot of pulling power for the world's super rich. But they're also a famously footloose bunch of people with little appetite to pay more tax. So how worried should Labour be? I'm about to meet South Africa's richest woman to find out. She says she's reluctantly relocating home to South Africa unless the government reverses its policy to charge inheritance tax on her estate.
In my situation, let's assume I died right now. My estate and the assets that I have in my trust would be subject to inheritance tax here immediately. South Africa has these kind of restrictions on free movement of cash out of the country. So, it's a situation where my estate my children might not be able to settle the bill in the UK.
A venture capitalist who has invested £500 million in UK science and tech startups, Magda is now threatening to take her investment elsewhere.
I was in the midst of raising a fourth fund to invest solely into the UK. We've had 100% focus on UK investment. I'm busy raising that money, and the message to my investors is we'll be deploying the capital around the world. We are not coming to the UK. So it's not necessarily, about what I can take out. It's about what I will not bring in.
Pressure on the public finances is mounting, and governments of all stripes have had to reach further into people's pockets. That includes the non-doms. Changes were first announced by Jeremy Hunt last year.
The government will abolish the current tax system for non-doms.
And expanded by Rachel Reeves in October.
We will introduce a new residence-based scheme with internationally competitive arrangements for those coming to the UK on a temporary basis, while closing the loopholes in the scheme designed by the party opposite.
There are no easy answers for the Chancellor. The economy is stagnating, spending pressures are mounting, and yet few people are prepared to pay more tax. Labour say those with the broader shoulders ought to take on the burden. But if the non-doms don't play ball, this policy could end up causing more harm to the public finances than good. The government is holding its breath. We don't know how many will leave, but when George Osborne reformed the system in 2017, there was an initial shock, but the numbers stabilised, falling just 5% after a few years. But it could be different this time.
The 2017 reform deliberately built in what you might call a loophole, but a way to avoid paying a lot more tax through the use of existing offshore trusts. And part of the reform that was announced last year was actually not having that kind of gap in the system to enable people to avoid the tax using trusts. And therefore you might expect to see a bigger response to the kind of reforms we've seen announced now. But it also means we don't have very much idea about how big a response to expect.
And with every non-dom that leaves, the country loses the tax they would have paid on their UK earnings. Budgets are tight. The government can't afford to get the calculation wrong. Gurpreet Narwan, Sky News.